kids. Ready? I'm ready. Ready to learn with you today and have some fun along the way because you're awesome and amazing. There isn't anyone in the whole wide world who can do what you can do. So, are you ready? Ready to learn with me today and have some fun along the way? Ready, set, go! Oh, today we've got another letter to talk about. It's backwards. Oops. And a piece of it fell off. Sometimes pieces just fall off. That piece is a jacket. Let's see if we can figure out the sounds to all of these pictures that start with this letter. You ready? This kind of a car is a Jeep. This airplane is a jet. Oh, juice. I love juice. Jam, jacket, and a jar. What sound is that? Jeep, juice, jet, jam, jacket, jar. J, 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 j. Okay, that's its sound. Let's sing the alphabet and see if we can guess which one goes in here. You ready? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, W, X, Y, Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? All right, it's next time. Let's do it backwards. Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, P, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, H, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Now I know my ZYXs. It is time for your guesses. What do you think? Can you see it on there? Let's turn it around and see which one it is, shall we? What letter is that? Is that a J? You're right. Let's see if we can find it on here. Let's start with this part. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. We found it. It's kind of at the starting a little bit. Almost in the middle part, but more at the starting. And it's a letter J right there by I and K. Okay, let's look at this for a minute. There's capital J, and there's lowercase j. Let's get out our writing rod, shall we? And let's see if we can draw a capital J and a lowercase j. So grab a marker and let's see if we can find a letter J. Now, capital J starts at the top of the writing rod. It goes all the way down and then curls around. Can you see that? Now, sometimes when people do a letter J, they don't even write the line across the top. Sometimes they don't do that. We're going to do it today, but sometimes you'll see a letter J that just goes down and around and then it stops. I like to add the line across the top because it helps me to know which letter I'm talking about. Lowercase j is a little bit different. It starts on the dotted part. It goes under the line. Now it's curled just like its dad, but we can tell it's a lowercase because when it has a dot on top, we know. It goes down, around, and has a dot. Now there's another letter that starts in the middle of the writing rod, goes down and has a dot. Is that a J? No, you're right, it's not, because it would have to go under the line. Oh, did we just turn it into a J? It was a letter I, but now it's a letter J because we put it under the line. If it just came down with the dot, that would be a letter I, but let's turn this one into a J too. There we have lots and lots of lowercase letter J's. Now let's look at our pictures for just a minute. There are lots of pictures that start with letter G, and you know, I love one letter. It's kind of a yummy treat. Right here, this jar, this is an empty jar, but you know what we're gonna do? I think we should draw a jar, and I think we should put something in the jar. So I'm gonna take this jar off because I wanna look at it a little bit while I'm drawing. We're gonna come down. Can you do that? Can you go down, go across, or else if you want to, you can draw the line on the bottom first and then go up and then go up, and it comes in just a little bit at the top. Or you could go straight up and then we go in and in. Those are all jars. And look right here, it's got a round lid. So we're gonna draw a circle around the top of it. Kind of an oval, really, more than a circle. Can you see that? All those jars are a little bit different. Is your jar different than my jar? Guess what I'm gonna put inside of the jar that starts with yellow J, that is letter J, that I think is yummy? I'm gonna draw in some jelly beans. Do you like jelly beans? I'm gonna draw some jelly beans in my jar. I love jelly beans. Look at all my jelly beans. Wouldn't it be fun if my jelly beans were all real and I could eat them? I would love to do that. Okay, we're gonna draw some more. Do you have lots of jelly beans? Oh, there are my jar full of jelly beans. I love jelly beans. Jelly bean jars. Okay, why don't you draw some jelly bean jars? And while you're drawing your jars, I think maybe we'll sing a song about jolly old St. Nicholas. Do you know who St. Nicholas is? St. Nicholas is another name for Santa Claus. And do you know what jolly means? Jolly means happy. Does Santa always seem happy and he's always going ho, 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 and all those things? He's kind of jolly. So we're going to sing a song called Jolly Old St. Nicholas. So while you're drawing your jelly beans in your jar, I'm going to sing to you about jolly old St. Nicholas. When you're done, you can help me. Jolly old St. Nicholas, lean your ear this way. Don't you tell a single soul what I'm going to say. Christmas Eve is coming soon. Now, you dear old man, whisper what you'll bring to me. Tell me if you can. When the clock is striking 12 and I'm fast asleep, down the chimney broad and black with your pack you'll creep. All the stockings you will find hanging in a row. Mine will be the shortest one, you'll be sure to know. Oh, let's move our feet like we're doing some skates. Johnny wants a pair of skates. Susie wants a doll. Nellie wants a storybook. Harry wants a ball. As for me, dear Santa Claus, when you come that night, put beneath my Christmas tree what you think I'd like. Good job. That was a fun song. All right, are you all done with your jelly beans and your J's? We're going to put this away for a minute, and we're going to see if you can find capital letter J. Look on there very carefully. Can you see it? What color is it? Green. All right, where is it? Oh, it's right by my hand. Can you see that green J? Nice work. Okay, you ready for a lowercase? Remember, it's going to have a dot on it. Can you find a letter J on there? Look very carefully. What color is it? Orange. And it's down on the bottom. There it is. Did you find that letter J? Nice work. That's awesome. You are doing such a great job with your letters. All right. we need to find and do our letter J. Okay, are you ready? Help me. What is this? Q. O. X. G. N. F. Good. R. Z. D. P. B. V. W. U. C. Oh, it's in here somewhere. Next one, I didn't even know. Letter J. O. This says to jump joyfully. Do you know what joyfully means? That means really happy. Are you ready to start jumping? Okay, get some room. Here we go. Jump. Oh, nice. Good jumping. Oh, you were jumping all around your room. That's going to give you lots of energy. That's a very good idea. Jumping is so fun to do. I love to jump. All right. We're going to talk a little bit today about part of Christmas celebration, but it's not just Christmas. We're going to talk about a person that lived a long, long time ago. And do you know how we all start out when we come to the earth? We start out as babies. And you know what? We've talked about lots of lots of holiday celebrations. This is Ramadan. And it doesn't talk about this same thing. This one, Ramadan, is a Muslim holiday. And they do lots of things to help people for their holiday. This is Diwali, and they celebrate the beginning of a new year. This one is Hanukkah, and it celebrates the miracle of the oil burning for 8 days instead of just one. This is Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa celebrates all the great things that we're learning how to do, how to be kind to other people, how to do things because we want to and work really hard, how to be responsible for ourselves and to do hard work, being creative, having purpose, economics, and having faith. This holiday is Los Posadas. And Los Posadas, can you see that is Mary and Joseph? And you know what? They're celebrating when baby Jesus was born. And this is Christmas. Christmas has Christmas trees and Santa Claus, but one of the main things about Christmas time is celebrating when baby Jesus came to the earth. And so we're going to talk a little bit. There's several holidays besides Christmas and Los Posadas that talk about baby Jesus. So that's the holiday that I celebrate, and that's the one I know most about is Christmas. I think these other holidays are so awesome, and I think it's amazing when you learn about all the holidays. So today we're going to talk about when baby Jesus was born. Now, Jesus starts with letter J. Jesus starts with J. So we're going to talk about baby Jesus today, and we're going to make a baby Jesus today. So we're going to talk a little bit about him before we make it. Did you know that Christmas was a holiday that was celebrated and people went to church? His name was Jesus Christ. And people would go to church and they would talk, and the church was called a mass. And they would go and talk about Jesus Christ, have a mass about it. So then they started saying Christ, mass, and they kind of squished it together and it became Christmas or Christmas. And that's where the word Christmas came from. It came from baby Jesus, whose name is Jesus Christ. Interesting, isn't it? Okay, we're going to read a story about what happened when he was born. All right, let's open it up. It's called A Savior is Born. This is the story of rocks. And we're going to read this one today. This book is an interesting book. It was created by Patty Rokas, and she did all of the pictures out of rocks. And then she took a picture with her camera and turned it into a book. But all the pictures are made with rocks. Patty is an artist. And do you know what else? She got all the words, or most of the words, out of the Bible. That's the place that tells the story about when baby Jesus was born. Some of the greatest stories in the world are true. This is one of them. Now look at those rocks that she did. Is that cool? Can you see the star in the sky? It's all made out of rocks. Mary, you're going to have a baby. That's a rock angel, and there's Mary. Waiting for Jesus. Baby Jesus is in Mary's tummy, and there's Joseph and Mary. They already love baby Jesus, don't they? They're going to Bethlehem. They had to walk a long, long ways. They had to go to Bethlehem because the king or the ruler told them they had to go and let everybody know who was there. They had to be taxed, and he had to count everyone, so they had to go back to Bethlehem. There's the donkey because they didn't have any cars. So Mary rode on the donkey, and Joseph walked and walked and walked all the way to Bethlehem. When they got there, there wasn't any hotels, or they called them inns in those days. There was no place for them to stay. So they went to the stable. In the stable were all the animals. And there's the stable. In fact, there's even a little bird right there. Those are all the animals. And while they were staying at the stable, baby Jesus was born. This page says Lamb of God. There's Joseph and Mary, the angel, and baby Jesus. Oh, look. There were lots and lots of stars. One great big star was right over where baby Jesus was. The angels came and told the shepherds there were tidings of great joy. You see those cool rocks? Those are their shepherd staffs. Glory to God. Oh, look at all the angels singing to the shepherds. Can you see that? Let's go see. Oh, there they are running. They're watching the star and they're running to go see. Rejoice. There they are. And see the baby Jesus? They're all there to see baby Jesus. There's the star, and there's all the people looking at baby Jesus. King of Kings. There's Mary holding baby Jesus, and there's 3 wise men, and there are the wise men's camel. Let's look at it carefully so you can see those pictures. There's the wise men, Mary and Jesus, and there's their camels. God so loved the world, there's the world, and there's all that love, that he gave his only begotten Son. Now it's your turn. What will you create with rocks? Could you make that? Did she do a fun story about baby Jesus, and she did it all with rocks? Do you do creative things like that sometimes and make things out of rocks or Legos or just drawing a picture? What are you going to make? There's lots of fun things to make. And she told a fun story about baby Jesus with rocks. Do you know what we're going to do today? I think we are going to make a manger and a baby Jesus. Now, we're going to need like a big, big popsicle stick or like an ice cream stick. This one's kind of round on the top like a head. And this one's kind of round. So we could take either one of these and we're going to draw a face on it. Shall we try this one? Let's take it. Let's get a marker. And we're going to draw a face on it. I'm going to draw some eyes and a little dot for a nose. Can you see that little tiny dot? And then a smile. Because I think baby Jesus was happy. Should we draw him a little bit of hair? There's a little bit of hair on him. Maybe we'll draw a little bit more. Now I've got a marker. I've got a little baby Jesus. Now he's kind of, whoops, I just dropped him. He is kind of tall. So you know what I'm going to have to do? I got to make him fit. So I'm going to break him so he's like a baby. I'm going to break the stick. You might need to have your grown-up help you break the stick. There we go. Now he's kind of short. He's going to be a baby Jesus that's going to be little. Now, do you know what happened to baby Jesus? His mom and dad did not have very much money. Mary and Joseph did not have a lot of money. So they took pieces of cloth called swaddling clothes, and they used to take babies back in the time when he was born, and they would wrap them up. So we're going to get a long string, and you could get a shoelace, you could get a long, long string of some fabric, or this is just some yarn, or just some regular string. And we're going to take, I'm going to take right here on this baby Jesus that I made. I'm going to put some glue on him. Just right under his mouth. I'm going to put some glue. And then I'm going to take a piece of yarn and I'm going to stick it to the glue. And then I'm going to start wrapping it. Oh, you know what? I didn't leave it very long to dry. I'm going to kind of hold it with my finger and wrap it around. And I'm going to keep going around and around. We're going to put some swaddling clothes on this baby Jesus. And I'm just wrapping it around. It might take a little while to wrap it around, and that's okay. We're going to keep wrapping. Sometimes it's going to get a little twisted, and we're going to keep wrapping it and wrapping it. When we get all done, I'm going to take a little more glue, and I'm going to put some glue right on here. You see it's kind of purpley spot with that glue, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to stick it right on the glue, and then I'm going to hold it for a minute because it needs to dry. So kind of push it on there. Oh, can you see my little baby? Now this baby needs a place to sleep. Let's look right here in this picture in our book. Where did he sleep in this picture? Did he sleep in a manger? Do you know what a manger is? It's kind of a feeding box where the animals eat their hay. So we're going to need to make one for him. But it's going to take a minute first to draw our baby and wrap it up. So while you're wrapping up your baby, I'm going to read you a story. This is a special story called The Crippled Lamb by Max Lucado with Jenna, Andrea, and Sarah Lucado. I'm going to read this while you are wrapping up your baby. And you know what? There's a feeding box in this story. I'm going to show you right near the end of it. See right there? There's where the animals get their feed, and there's a baby in that one. Let's look. There's one other picture of it. There's the animals eating out of it. We need to make one of those to put our little baby Jesus in, don't we? You know what? Before I read this one, I'll bet you're about done with your baby Jesus. So we're going to need a toilet paper roll. I'll bet you have one of these at your house. And we're going to take it and we're going to cut down this side and this side so we have two halves. This is a hole. We're going to cut right through this side and right through that side. And we're going to turn it into a manger or a feeding box. So you might need a little help with this one too. I don't know. You might be okay. We're going to like this. And when we get about halfway done, I'm going to turn it around and do it on the other side. Can you see how it's starting to get cut right there? I'm going to go right at the bottom and I'm going to cut again. And it kind of pull it apart when we get to the end. Okay, now it's kind of open. Now we got to cut this side. Right across from it, we got to cut on the other side that's still round. See right there? We're going to go right on the top of it. I did a little tiny cut on the top. I'm going to do some cutting on the bottom. Open and shut. And if you need a little help from your grown-up, we're going to have some other cutting to do. So your grown-up can help you if you'd like to. All right. Now we have two kind of rolly halves, don't we? We're going to take one rolly half, and we're going to take some glue, and we're going to put it right on the back round part. All the way down, we're going to put some glue. All right? And then we're going to take this side, and we're going to stick them together so that they look like this. Now look what happens. When I take it, I can set that down, and on the top I have a feed box, and on the bottom I have the legs to hold it. That's going to be our manger. Now, what went inside? Now we have to kind of keep pushing it a little bit so it will for sure dry. Let's look at this feed box in this story really quickly. Yep, it kind of looks the same, doesn't it? But what's inside of it? Is there a whole bunch of hay inside of it for the animals to eat? So guess what? We're going to need to make some hay. So let's see, what color is this hay in here? Did we see what color it was? Let's look carefully. I need to leave it open. Look at that. It's kind of brown and yellow. So you can use brown and yellow or just brown. We need to cut some really, really skinny pieces. Little skinnies. Can you see how tiny those little pieces are? Okay, there's a piece. Maybe we'll cut 2 or 3 pieces. It's going to take a little cutting. We've got lots of cutting to do. And one more of these. Maybe I will cut a couple of brown ones. You can just do yellow if you want, or you can do yellow and brown. I think I'm going to cut a little, maybe just one piece of brown. Because in our picture, it was mostly yellow. Now remember, when we looked at the rocks, she did it her very own way. You can do it your very own way, however you want. Now we have all these pieces. We've got brown and we've got yellow. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cut them even littler. I'm going to cut them like this big. Oh, look, now I have little tiny pieces. And I'm going to cut some more little tiny pieces. There's some more little tinies. And I'm going to cut all the way down here. It's getting littler. And I've got them all cut in little pieces. So I have a whole bunch of little pieces. Now we've got to make a soft manger for our baby. So get your glue. And we're going to take, oops, my manger fell down. Sometimes things fall, don't they? And you have to just get down and pick them up. Okay, I'm going to take a little bit of glue and I'm going to take it and I'm going to stick it right on my manger. Just like that. Another way to do it that might be easier is to just take your glue, get it really tall, and just put some glue right on your manger. Oh, look what happened. It kind of fell off a little bit. If it does, you just stick it right back on, and we can glue it when we're done. We're going to put some glue all over on the inside of this, and then I'm going to take these little pieces, and I'm going to start sticking them all over inside my manger. We need some down in the bottom to keep it soft, don't we? Do we need some down in the bottom to make it nice and soft? You can just take a bunch of pieces and just stick them wherever you want to. And we're just sticking them all over in there. And there's not a certain way to do it because hay just goes in there any which way. Can you see it? Any which way. We're just sticking it in there. All over the place. We want lots and lots of pieces to stick on there so that it's nice and soft for our baby that we just made, for our little baby Jesus. Oh, are you getting lots of pieces stuck on yours? Lots and lots of, now, are we getting a little glue on our fingers? Is it okay to have some glue on our fingers? When we're all done, what are we gonna do? Are we just gonna go wash them off? And that's gonna be totally okay, isn't it? A little bit of glue is okay. And sometimes if the glue dries up and we need a little more, we just put a little bit more glue on right on our paper, right on our little papers, and just stick them right on there. Now, if you don't have enough hay in yours, you could cut some more strips. You can put as much hay inside of your little manger for your baby Jesus as you want to. Look at all that hay that's in there. Is that so much? This piece is falling off, so I'm going to put a little bit of glue on it, and I'm going to stick it right on there. I've got one more that's having a hard time sticking on there, so I'm going to get a little glue for him and stick him on there. All right, look at all that. Can you see all that hay in there? Then when I want to, I can get my little baby Jesus, and I can lay baby Jesus right inside of it. Look at him. He's laying in his little manger, isn't he? So while you're working on cutting it and putting it in there, I'm going to read you this story. I better take baby Jesus out until it's all the way dry. Oh, that made a little piece of hay come out. You can keep putting lots and lots of hay inside of him, okay? And while you're doing that, I am going to read you a story about the crippled lamb. Okay, let's read this. And you can be cutting out and working on your hay while you're listening. There's the little lamb. Can you see him? It's illustrated by Liz Bonham. Once upon a time in a sunny valley, there lived a little lamb named Joshua. He was white with black spots, black feet, and sad eyes. Josh felt sad when he saw the other lambs all snow-white wool and no spots. He felt sad when he saw the other sheep with their moms and dads because he didn't have a mom or dad. But he felt saddest when he saw the other animals running and jumping because he couldn't. Josh had been born with one leg that didn't work right. He was crippled, and he always limped when he walked. That's why when he watched the other lambs run and play, Josh felt sad and alone. There they are all running, and he's all sad and alone, except when Abigail was around. Abigail was Josh's best friend. She didn't look like a friend for a lamb. She was an old cow. She was brown with white blotches that looked like rain puddles on a path. Her belly was as round as a barrel, and her voice was always kind and gentle. Some of Josh's favorite time was spent with Abigail. They loved to pretend they were adventurers in a distant land. Josh liked to listen to Abigail tell stories about the stars. They would spend hours on the hill looking into the valley. They were good friends. But even with a friend like Abigail, Josh still got sad. It made him sad to be the only lamb that could not jump and play in the grass. That's when Abigail would turn to him and say, "Don't be sad, little Joshua. God has a special place for those who feel left out." Josh really wanted to believe her, but it was hard. Some days he just felt alone. He really felt alone the day the shepherds decided to take the lambs to the next valley where there was more grass. The sheep had been in this valley so long, the ground was nearly bare. All the sheep were excited when the shepherds told them they were going to a new valley. As they prepared to leave, Josh hobbled over and took his place on the edge of the group. But the others started laughing at him. "You're too slow to go all the way to the next valley," they said. "Go back, Slowpoke. We'll never get there if we have to wait for you." "Go back, Joshua." That's kind of sad. They're not being very kind, are they? And that's when Josh looked up and saw the shepherds standing in front of him. "They are right, my little Joshua. You better go back. This trip is too long for you. Go back and spend the night in the stable." Josh looked at the man for a long time. Then he turned slowly and began limping away. He knows it would be too hard for him, doesn't he? When Josh got to the top of the hill, he looked down and saw all the other sheep headed toward the green grass. Never before had he felt so left out. A big tear slipped out of his eyes and rolled down his nose and fell on a rock. Just then, he heard Abigail behind him, and Abigail said what she always said when Josh felt sad. "Don't be sad, little Joshua. God has a special place for those who feel left out." Slowly, the two friends turned and walked to the stable together. By the time they got to the barn, the sun was starting to set like a large orange ball. Josh and Abigail went inside and began to eat some hay out of the feed box. They were very hungry, and the hay tasted good. For a while, Joshua forgot that he had been left behind. "Go to sleep, little friend," Abigail said after they finished eating. "You have had a very hard day." Josh was tired, so he lay down in the corner on some straw and closed his eyes. He felt Abigail lay down beside him, and he was glad to have Abigail for his friend. Soon Josh was asleep. First he slept soundly, curled up against Abigail's back. In his sleep, he dreamed. He dreamed of running and jumping just like the other sheep. He dreamed of long walks with Abigail through the valley. He dreamed of being in a place where he never felt left out. Suddenly, strange noises woke him up. "Abigail," he whispered, "I'm scared." Abigail lifted her big head and looked around. The stable was dark except for a small lamp hanging on the wall. "Somebody is here," Joshua whispered. They looked across the dimly lighted stable. There, lying on some fresh hay in the feed box, was a baby. A young mother was resting on a big pile of hay beside the feed box. Joshua looked at Abigail, thinking his friend could tell him what was going on. But Abigail was just as confused as Josh was. Josh looked again at the woman and the child, then limped across the stable. He stopped next to the mother and looked into the baby's face. The baby was crying. He was cold. The woman picked up the baby and put him on the hay next to her. Joshua looked around the stable for something to keep the baby warm. Usually there were blankets, but not tonight. The shepherds had taken them on their trip across the valley. Then Josh remembered his own soft, warm wool. Timidly, he walked up over and curled close to the baby. Can you see him right there? "Thank you, little lamb," the baby's mother said softly. Soon the little child stopped crying and went back to sleep. About that time, a man entered the stable. "I'm sorry, Mary," he said. "These rags are all I could find." "It's okay," she answered. "This little lamb has kept the new king warm." "A king?" Josh looked at the baby. He wondered who he might be. His name is Jesus, Mary spoke as if she knew Joshua's question. God's son. He came from heaven to teach us about God. Just then there was another sound at the door. It was the shepherds. The ones who had left Joshua behind. Their eyes were big and they were excited. We saw a bright light and heard the angels, they began. Then they saw Joshua next to the baby. Joshua, do you know who this baby is? He does now. It was the young mother who was speaking. She looked at Joshua and smiled. God has heard your prayers, little lamb. This baby is your answer. Joshua looked down at the baby. Somehow he knew he was a special child, and this was a special moment. He also understood why he had been born with a crippled leg. Had he been like the other sheep, he would have been in the valley. But since he was different, he was in the stable, among the first to welcome Jesus into the world. Did he find a special place just for him? He did, didn't he? He turned and walked back to Abigail and took his place beside his friend. You were right, he told her. God does have a special place for me. Are all of us special? We all have special things we can do. Things that are amazing, that make us who we are, because each one of us is awesome. All right, do you have your hay already? I have my little baby, and I'm going to put him right inside of my manger. There he can rest. He's right inside here resting. How about your baby? Your baby Jesus? Is he in your manger resting? Let's sing a song about baby Jesus. Maybe one you don't know, and then we'll sing one maybe you do know. Tell me the story of Jesus when he came to earth. Things I would ask him to tell me about his birth. Angels and wise men, shepherds came too. Stories of Jesus, I'll listen to you. How about this one? Away in a manger, no crib for a bed, the little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the bright sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep in the hay. Is your baby sleeping in your hay? Little baby Jesus slept in the hay his first night. I hope you had fun making your baby Jesus, and I hope no matter which holiday you celebrate, that you remember the special things that you want to do with your family and the special things we do to be kind to other people and to help other people to be happy. That's what the holidays are about, is being our very best person and remembering how to take care of other people and to do kind things. We need to let our light or our goodness make other people happy. I have so much fun being with you. You are incredible. See you later, alligator. In a while, crocodile. You're awesome, possum. See you next time.